What's up, you guys? Happy Friday. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. We are holding a funeral today. That's why I'm wearing black. Jackie took a different approach. You guys are going to see that in just a second. But we have to talk about the Lakers, the Trailblazers, and what's to come for the Nets versus the Bucks. But before we dive in, subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Happy Sad Friday. Is that a thing? Happy Sad Friday. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on all things social media at @JRayTheFanatic. And yes, Devin is correct. I took a different approach. I don't know if y'all can see, but I still got my GOAT James shirt on. Nothing has changed for me. He is still my man, still my guy. I got a lot of pink slips that I would love to sign, though. But as far as LeBron James, he is still my guy.
He's still my guy too, but I think that I need to take today to mourn this first round exit by the Lakers. Very, very disappointing after last season being the finals champions to now a first round exit. So let's discuss it all. We need to spend some time breaking down what happened with the Lakers. So we're hopping right into this need to know news story. So LeBron James entered this postseason having won all 14 first-round matchups he's played in his career. That's pretty impressive, but that all came to an end, obviously, last night as the Suns defeated the Lakers 113-100. So the Suns are now moving on to the second round for the first time since the 2009-2010 season. In that season, they actually advanced to the Western Conference Finals and lost to the Lakers, and that was the Suns' last playoff appearance until now. So AD started the game for the Lakers after he missed Game 5 with that groin injury, but he exited just 5 minutes and 25 seconds in after aggravating it. So maybe he came back too soon. But without AD on the floor, the Lakers were just struggling from the field. And Devin Booker pretty much single-handedly outscored them in the first half. He had 33 points at the half. And then going into the second half, the Lakers did look a little bit more aggressive. They trimmed the deficit to 10 with just over 8 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. But unfortunately, their efforts did not help them pull through, and the Suns walked away with the win. It will be the first NBA Finals without either LeBron James or Steph Curry since 2010. And I told you guys about that stat yesterday. It's just still pretty wild to consider. It's been 11 years since we've seen a finals without LeBron James or Steph Curry. So let's take a second and think about the future for the Lakers, Jackie. What's the move for next season?
We're going to talk about one person that I definitely think should go. I think he made a statement like he wants to go. KCP needs to go. There's nothing, I don't see anything positive about KCP. KCP has been probably, and I started talking about KCP in a negative light before the play-in. So, we've got to make a lot of changes. I definitely think, unfortunately, LeBron, and I get it, AD did something similar last night. He tried to come back way too soon, and we saw that almost immediately that it was too soon. So I was on Twitter at the time, and I was watching people talk about that, and everyone was, kind of clowning him, calling him Mr. Glass and saying he's trash and things of that nature. And that's just one of those things that I don't understand that narrative, because for you to know that you're hurt, for you to know that your whole entire body movement comes from your groin, and for you to know that your team needs you and to try to go out there and play anyway, despite knowing this injury, that just shows heart to me. Now, granted, I've said it time and time again, including when Frank Vogel refused to bench LeBron, that sometimes you have to protect these players from themselves. LeBron is 36. There's no way in hell he should have been playing the minutes that he was playing. And then, I don't know, maybe I jinxed it because I feel like the fifth time I said that, then bam, down goes LeBron, right? So I don't want that narrative around AD. I saw everybody saying he didn't have these health problems in New Orleans. Okay, well, he has them now. And I just don't think that him going out there knowing that he has this injury is a ding on him. I think it's a star for him because it shows that he wanted to be present. He wanted to be a part of the reason that we got over that hump, because he definitely saw the writing on the wall. I said yesterday that I just didn't have the faith that we would get over this hump, and that's what happened. But for him to know that the writing was on the wall, that his team could be kicked out of in the first round, and for him to say, you know what, I'm in pain, but I'm going to go out here and I'm going to try my best to show up. That is heart, you guys. That is not a ding on AD. That kind of hurt my heart when I saw those people talking bad about AD. I was like, damn, like you can't even want to step up for your team in the worst moment and get any clout for that. Y'all are weird. So let me just be the first to say, get off of AD's back. That's not a thing.
Yes, I agree with you. I think that it is admirable that AD was willing to go out there knowing that the risk he was, putting his health at by suiting up and getting on the floor and playing, even if it was for 5 minutes. I mean, we always say that it's a skill to stay healthy for these NBA athletes. So there does need to be that perfect balance of, pushing yourself a little bit and taking the time you need to recover. In the postseason, I think pushing yourself, especially with the series as close as it was, I think that pushing yourself was the right move here. But hopefully that doesn't mean AD is going to come back next season a little worse for wear, because I don't want to see that. But speaking of Frank Vogel, we've talked about how he needs to be more willing to step in and let players know that they actually are not going to play. They do need to rest. But is it time that he's on the chopping block?
Are you asking me? I put Frank Vogel on the chopping block even when we won. So I don't know if I'm the right person to ask that question to. I wanted him fired while we were accepting our ring. He didn't coach that team. I have a problem with cheerleading coaches. And that's what Frank Vogel is. He's a cheerleading coach. The fact of the matter that we had we didn't know what the hell to do between Andre and Mark is weird to me. We couldn't figure that out. And then last minute, when it's the final hour, you decide to throw Mark in. And Mark he looked like he hadn't been playing for a while because he wasn't in that rotation. He doesn't know really how to utilize what he has. Now, I will say, we're talking about some players. I saw somebody in the chat say Kyle Kuzma needs to be traded. No argument here. When you're talking about these people who really kind of are confusing. So maybe I should give him a little bit of a pass, because people like Kyle Kuzma are really confusing. He'll go out there and score almost 30 points one game, goose egg the next. I get maybe 30 points in one game, maybe 12 points. But this goose egg thing is weird to me. Him and Schröder and KCP going out there shooting the lights out with no score. What? Maybe it's confusing for him as a coach, but I'm still not giving him no pass because of the whole Andre and Marc Gasol situation. I definitely thought Andre was going to be more than what he was, for sure. But the second he came here and he kind of had that toe problem, that big toe problem where his toenail almost fell off, then maybe you need to figure out how to I know you remember that, Devin.
I don't like thinking about that kind of thing ever. Oh.
Then maybe that moment in time, you realize, okay, I really need to figure out how to utilize Mark in a better way, because clearly injuries started hitting us early on. So I think as quickly as those injuries started hitting us, Frank should have had some plan Bs, and he just didn't. His whole plan was to pray. That was his whole plan. Pray that LeBron and AD are okay. That was his entire plan. I don't like it. I think he should go.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think that the Lakers need a coach that's going to be able to manage the superstar persona of LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and be able to, put their foot down when they need to, as opposed to just kind of like sitting back and praying, like what you said. Okay, so Jackie, final question for I guess I can ask you this after we talk about Portland. So let's move on to the Trailblazers. So Denver trailed by as many as 14 points in the second half, and it looked like the Trailblazers were going to be forcing a Game 7, but the Trailblazers ended up going cold in the fourth quarter, and Nikola Jokic really just rallied. Like, he was just on it. He was looking good. The Nuggets ended up going to hitting a fourth quarter lead that stretched as far as 11 points. And this is all, we were just talking about Dame's 55-point game. He finished with last night he finished with 28 points and 13 assists. I can't talk right now. CJ McCollum had 21 points, but he struggled with shooting. So all in all, I mean, it sucks for Dame again because we want to see Dame win. We're going to actually be talking about Dame in the post-up and a potentially cryptic caption that he posted. But do you think that it's time now for Portland to shake things up a bit?
I mean, we've been saying that they should shake things up for years. I see Kevin Pryor in the chat. He says Portland needs a coaching change. That could be. They definitely need some sort of change. Watching that game, if you sit down and watch as much basketball as I do, or I think a lot of you do, I know Kevin Pryor and Kevin Lang in the chat seem to watch a lot of basketball. It was one of those things where you was like, uh-oh, because you just kind of knew what was happening with Portland. Dame just looked fatigued, and I'm not giving him an excuse. Well, I mean, technically people are calling excuses, but if you're tired, you just tired. And he just really looked fatigued. He looked like his body had reached its breaking point, because he did everything he could do the game before. And this is what we've said time and time again. He needs to be able to first of all, let me just say this. Every person on every team, whether you're the star or not, that's why I really can't hate on what the Nets do. You need to be able to have a breaking point and it not cost you the game, because the rest of your squad will step up and do what they're supposed to do. But, that just kind of proved that, because I think it was, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if it was the second or the third quarter, but one of those quarters, Jokic didn't score at all. Joker didn't score at all. And that was really their time to kind of pounce on the situation, but they didn't. And one of the reasons is because Dame was fatigued. So it's one of those things where I just really can't. Who is this? We got somebody new in the chat. Okay, let me get my fingers ready because I can see what's about to happen.
I already did it. I gave him 2 warnings. I was like, we're going to time you out. If you keep doing this, you got to stop. And then he's like, fine, time me out then. So you've been hidden. You've been hidden from the channel altogether. Bye.
Yeah, all right. You was on it, Devin. I was over here trying to warm up my fingers and you was on it. I appreciate you. But nonetheless, that was one of those games where it's a tough call, because obviously I love Dame immensely, and I really wanted him to get over this hump. I really wanted him to beat Denver, but you can't deny Joker. You know what I mean? What he is doing for the Mile High City is just amazing. For him to step up in the way that he had, he's one of those things. It's kind of the opposite. We kind of realized how much Jaylen Brown meant for the Celtics when he went out, and then we didn't realize how dope Joker was until Jamal went out. It's kind of like the flip situation. This guy he's the heart and soul of this team. So it's one of those things where you can't really. Don't sleep on the Nuggets is kind of where I'm at right now, but I still would have loved for, Dame and the Trailblazers to get over this hump. But I know we talk about this all the time about, is he going to stay and is he going to go? You guys got to watch the Evergreen that I did this weekend, and he's pretty much said he's definitely going to stay. So I follow Dame on Instagram, mostly because I love it when he posts new music, because it's always fire. And that's the only way I can know he posts new music is to follow him on Instagram. But right after the game, he posted on his Instagram, I think I sent it to Leo, and he posted a cryptic kind of message from Nipsey Hussle, which basically said, how do you, Leo, do we have that? Can we post it? If we don't, it's fine.
This was a post-up thing, but this is a need-to-know news thing. Okay, yes. Leo, that screenshot in the Fumble Crew chat, if you have it ready, put it up there. There we go.
I don't know if you can see what he says. Now, this is a Nipsey Hussle quote, and at the bottom he says, how long should I stay dedicated? How long till opportunity meets preparation? So if you only read the first half of that, and he says, how long can I stay dedicated? You're like, oh, damn, he's about to leave. But at the end, he says, till opportunity meets preparation. So I love this picture because obviously it shows the respect that he has for Joker. But he's obviously saying that he's going to stay in Portland until the opportunity changes. And he said this time and time again. I don't know what opportunity he needs, though. Because I would hate to see, and I've seen this on several sports talk shows that people say CJ's got to go. And I don't know. I don't know if I feel that CJ, he definitely doesn't fire at the same time that Dame is firing. And if he did, that would be dope. And maybe you do. Maybe you do trade CJ to get somebody in who's a better wingman for Dame. I don't know. But they definitely have to shake things up. I think I kind of agree with Kevin, and you got to start with the head coach, unfortunately. And I hate to say that because I like him too, but yeah, he got to go. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I personally would like to see Dame leaving Portland. I don't know exactly where I'd like to see him go, but rather than replacing CJ with somebody else, I think I'd like to see Dame just in an entire new environment where maybe he's just gotten too comfortable in Portland, and maybe that's why he doesn't seem to have that same intensity and desire to win a ring, because he's comfortable. I mean, he still goes out there and he's aggressive every single night. He puts up a fight every night. He has these impressive games, but I think that maybe somewhere along the way, in the comfort of living his life in Portland, he's just lost that drive to win a ring or something. So I think moving him out of there is the way to go. Of course, you can replace the head coach.
You come to LA, I will be the personal welcome committee for you. I will pick up your dry cleaning. I will walk your dog, Dame. I will do whatever I need to do to get you to LA. I would take that for sure. I saw some people in the chat said, yes, CJ's got to go. Other people in the chat said, no, CJ's not the problem. But that's one of those things. These are both very likable guys. So I think sometimes that clouds things as well. But like I said the other day, I agree with you 100%. I think Dame is too comfortable. And sometimes when you're in your comfort zone, it's hard to succeed because you're comfortable there. So it's kind of like, whatever happens, happens. I heard, I watched the game with a friend. I watched the first half of the game. I tapped out at halftime, but I watched the first half of the game with a friend, and she said something similar. He said something similar about LeBron. She was like, before he had all the naysayers to prove wrong. Now he doesn't give a damn about the naysayers. He's accomplished. His legacy is solidified, and he's playing like his legacy is solidified. I thought he was playing like a 36-year-old man who's still nursing a high ankle sprain. So, it's just people have different thought processes. But I definitely think that when LeBron came to LA, he knew exactly what he wanted to do, and that was win a ring here. And he did that. So I don't know if she's right in her assessment that maybe now that he's done that. I don't know. I just thought it was more of an age thing, but I do agree that once you're in a comfort zone and you feel like life is good here, you might be a little bit too relaxed. So for his sake, he might just need to leave.
Yeah, I'm with you for sure. I think that it is time for him to go. And now with the Lakers and Portland out, we kind of talked about this yesterday, Jackie, and you said if there's any team that you'd like to see win, you said the Nuggets. Is that still the true for you?
I mean, I'm from Denver, so at least I have some attachment to the team. But ultimately, you guys know how I feel about Rudy Gobert. So, I mean, I'll probably cheer for Rudy Gobert, Luka, and the Nuggets. It means I'm just going to be cheering all the time because Luka's my baby goat. So,
Never gonna stop. Just one constant cheer. Okay, let's take a second and talk about what's to come for the Nets versus Bucks. Okay, so this is kind of an interesting matchup that we're going to be seeing here because the Bucks beat the Nets twice in their 3 regular season meetings, but the Bucks never came up against the big 3 all at one time. So they didn't ever play against KD, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving at the same time, which I think is it's an imperative note to acknowledge here. So when the Nets beat the Bucks 125-123 in the team's first meeting back in January, only KD and James Harden were playing at the time. And then when the Bucks beat the Nets in back-to-back games in early May, only KD and Kyrie were on the floor. So there's a lot, and we have talked about this before, there's a lot of unknown about the Nets and what they look like as a unit with all 3 of their superstars on the floor. We don't really know what they're going to look like against the Bucks heading into this second round series. So what matters the most about the 3 regular season matchups that they had, Jackie, and how could that play into the Bucks' attempt to defend the Nets?
So nothing matters for their actual matchup with the Nets in the past because they didn't see the Nets as they're going to get to see them in the playoffs. So what is really going to matter for the Bucks, at least to me, is it's going to be making sure that you watch tape because they didn't get an opportunity to actually play this juggernaut in its entirety. So they need to watch tape, make sure they have a plan because that's the thing with the Nets. And again, I know a lot of us hate on the Nets, but this is how you should stack your squad, because if James Harden is having an off night, Kyrie can step up. If Kyrie is having an off night, KD can step up. Let's not forget Blake's back there doing his thing as well. So they have this team where you really have to figure out a plan for three and a possible, for those of y'all who play spades, 3 and a possible. And when you're talking about who you need to shut down. So you really need to make sure you have a plan in place to make sure that you can to handle that. And so it's going to be watching a lot of tape. It's going to be a lot of switching. And you got to switch quick. You can't do the Frank Vogel thing of let me ride this thing out for 4 quarters. Technically 5, as I'll start the next game with the same plan and then maybe I'll switch up. You gotta do this minute by minute. If something's not working, if somebody can't shut KD down, you need to switch. Giannis needs to take some of that ownership as well, because we know last time against the Heat, he didn't switch. He didn't make any kind of switch. And he said he didn't do that because coach didn't tell him to. Well, Giannis, this is not the team where you can see things not going right and you be like, oh, well, coach didn't tell me that, so I didn't do it. No, you need to, if you see a problem, you need to address it. That's the plan. Every single problem you see, you have to address it. You can't just let it go. On the flip side, I think the Nets should not go into this situation thinking that this is an easy win for them. I think they need to go in there understanding who the Bucks are, and they need to do the same thing. They need to have a plan, and they need to have a plan in place. Again, they do have more weapons in their arsenal. So if things go wrong, their transitions and their switches could be a lot better. But you still can't go in there with the mentality that Giannis can't all of a sudden become on fire and shut this thing down. So you have to go in there considering the level of play that the Bucks have, and don't be fooled, because Giannis went into the Heat series all nonchalant, like, I don't know, whatever happens. Came out, and it was like, okay, who are these people? So both teams have to be prepared. In my head, I still think the Nets win this, but I do think it goes to 7 games.
There was somebody in the chat here. Pete Gorman says the Nets are about to get swept. I don't see that happening.
If that happens, shut down basketball, because that means this whole experiment failed miserably. So.
That is a hot take. I have never seen that take before. The Nets are not getting swept. The Nets are going to be walking away with the win in this series. I have a feeling. It's just going to be, I think, very hard to predict what they are going to do and what they're going to look like, having not seen all 3 of them together against the Bucks. I don't think it's going to be an easy feat for sure. I think what you said is totally accurate about the Nets needing to go into this, realizing that they're going up against a solid contender here, not just some, podunk team with no real title aspirations. But it is very interesting.
I could see the Nets sweeping. I don't see that, obviously, based on my prediction, but I'm seeing a lot of Bucks in 6, Bucks in 4.
Wow.
We watch different teams, but I cannot wait to see this. I still got Nets in 7. I mean, let me just say Nets whenever they do it, they do it. I do see the Nets winning this. I don't think it's going to be an easy road for them. I don't think that the Bucks are going to come out here and just lay down. I don't think it's going to be like that at all. So I think, this is going to be easy to see.
I think this could even be a 7-game series for sure.
Yeah, easy, a 7-game series, easy.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, let's wrap up our Need to Know News segment. We have Fan or Folk coming up at the end of the show, but for now, we are getting into the post up.
Yes, let's get to the post up right now. I just put somebody on timeout, and I don't know if it was because of your name or because of your comment, but either way, inappropriate. So let's move on into the post up because last night was rough. I don't want to say it was rough, because if you guys were here on the show yesterday, you know that I kind of said, this one's going to be tough because LeBron can't do it by himself. So he did not. He heard y'all, those of y'all who was mad at him for leaving early and felt some type of way about that. He did not leave the game early. He left right when the game was over, and he just walked out, and he didn't shake hands with anyone or anything. But take a look. This is him just walking out. No big deal, because it's not just him. It's a whole freaking crew is just walking out. And I think that's fine. I've always said I am not, you know, I've been on teams that I've actually won. I don't really want to shake your hand all the time because especially if it's a team that I actually hate, I've not been that type to shake everyone's hand all the time. I've never had a problem with someone just walking to the locker room and skipping that. Those are niceties that, you know, I think sometimes I know a lot of you guys think that we've gotten too soft. I think that's part of it. Like I don't need to shake your hand. We not cool like that, but there's no narrative. Whatever y'all are going to say in the chat about King James, there's no narrative because first of all, we know he's great friends with Chris Paul. That's one of his best friends. And second of all, he went and sought out Devin Booker to make sure that he could tell him how dope he was. So this was him after the game. You see he's got his jersey in his hand. He went and found him some Devin Booker because he needed to have a conversation. So he signed the jersey. And you guys probably can't see it. But at the bottom where he signed it, it says, "Hey, keep being great," because he knows how great Devin Booker is. And that's what guys do when they respect each other. I don't have to put on this whole show for you guys in the chat or you guys who love to hate LeBron because y'all are going to say what you're going to say. And I'm great and I don't need to really think about that. But for this young man who's coming up after me, I have to take this moment in time to acknowledge what you just did on the court was dope. That's what Kings do, right? So I thought that was really dope. I appreciated all of that. And I do want to circle back to what my friend said about LeBron, though. She felt that LeBron is just at this moment in life where he feels he's accomplished everything and he's feeling good about life because I think the reporters wanted him to kind of be a little bit downtrodden or a little bit sad. I don't know what they wanted, but we talked about Steph not being sad and we felt some type of way about that. So I get people feeling some type of way about this, but this is what he said he's going to be doing in his off season. Take a look.
No, I think I'm gonna play for the Toon Squad this summer instead of the Olympics. I think that's what that's my focus on trying to beat the Monstars or the Goon Squad, we call them now. So didn't have much success versus Suns. So now I am gearing my attention to the Goon Squad here in mid-July. So I'm gonna let the ankle rest for about a month, and then I'm gonna gear up with Lola, Taz, Granny, Bugs, and the rest of the crew. So hopefully see y'all at the match.
I love that. Shameless plug for Space Jam, a new legacy that's coming out. That's number one. Number two, please honor that, LeBron. Don't play any basketball. Just rest. I don't want you playing in no nothing. Just rest. And because you're 36 now, you're about to be 37. When you get that, you just need to rest. That's what that is. But I love that. I'm still on the fence with this Space Jam because I love Pepe Le Pew. I know that sounds weird, but Devin, I love Pepe Le Pew. And when I found out Pepe Le Pew wasn't going to be in it, I felt some type of way. They don't have him in it because they say he promotes date rape culture.
Sorry, I was a little distracted because we have the chat just acting up today. So I was in the middle of trying to ban somebody. But
I'll tag me in, Devin. Tag me in. Who am I blocking?
I blocked it. I took care of it, but I just don't understand what's wrong with people. So I didn't realize I was on camera and I'm sitting there like typing away. What was the question?
All right. So they banned a few characters in the new Space Jam. They banned Pepe Le Pew, which is like my favorite Looney Tune character. And I read up on it and I was like, why would they ban him? They banned Pepe Le Pew because they said he promotes date rape culture.
Oh my God, honestly.
Also banned Speedy Gonzalez because they said he was racist.
You know what? I think that I am all for progress. I love seeing progress. But this kind of thing, getting upset about cartoon characters, unless it's like a cartoon character in blackface or something horrible like that, like something that really truly makes a mockery out of a culture, I think that we need to just stop being so triggered about some of these things. Like, I don't know. It's dumb. I think it's dumb. I think we could have left Pepe. We could have left Speedy Gonzalez. Like, nobody is that offended. Did you know that they're also saying Disney princesses should be banned because they don't consent to being kissed by the princes when they come to wake them up? They don't consent.
Well, I mean, when you think about Beauty and the Beast, she was held hostage. But everybody else, I think, is fine. Everybody else, I think, is fine.
Like Yeah, I mean, it's just like we're taking things, I think, just slightly. Let's focus on real world issues, not Pepe Le Pew and Speedy Gonzalez. That's at least my take.
I agree. I'm still gonna watch it because my king is in it. But Pepe Le Pew is such a romantic. I love him, but okay, whatever. And he's not raping anybody. They all running away from him, but whatever. Okay, that's fine. All right, so let's move on because now we're gonna get to the guy that I have already given him his walking papers. So who's on the bus? KCP's on the bus. Dennis Schroeder's on the bus. Kyle Kuzma's on the bus. Dennis Schroeder is never getting off the bus. I don't care what y'all say. If he comes back next season, he's going to be that guy that I cannot stand. And I'm going to tell you why. Because prior to tip-off, he was trending on Twitter. I told y'all I was on Twitter during the game. And I was like, oh, I thought people were going to drag him like, oh, you better not go out there and score no goose egg, blah, 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 blah. That's why I thought he was trending. Nope. He was trending because he changed his profile. So he removed the Lakers name from his Instagram just hours before tip-off. So this is what it had, him and his little girlfriend or whatever, and they baby. And he took everything regarding the Lakers off of his Instagram. Now, here's the funny thing. Keep this in mind because he put it back on right before tip-off. And then right when he got to the locker room, he took it back off and put this back up, which means that before he did his post-game interview, he took it off again, which means this post-game interview is a bunch of BS. Take a listen.
We're gonna be back, and I'm gonna work my ass off, to come back here, to give everything because we owe them fans one. And I wanna win a championship, and I'm gonna work my ass off this summer. And
first of all, sir, if that's really what you wanted to do, if you really wanted to go out there and work your butt off, why would you remove the Lakers from your Instagram? That's number one. Number two, you could have worked a little bit harder during that goose egg. And number three, you really didn't take this long-term contract with LA because you wanted to prove that you earned more money, that you were worth more money. I don't like Dennis at all. I don't care where he goes. I don't care if he comes back here. I personally want him gone. He can take KCP with him. But this is ridiculous. Devin, what does him, so he had to take the Lakers off of his Instagram before doing this post-game interview and saying, oh, I want to come back and I want to work because the fans deserve better. He clearly lying, right?
Yeah, he's clearly lying, but I think it's obvious just in the way that he's talking. There is no heart in what he's saying. When he's like, we're going to come back better next year, it's like, you don't even believe that. You're not even trying to make us believe that you believe that. Like, everything about this screams, I've given up, I'm out of here, I am no longer loyal to the Lakers. I think doing anything on social media that even implies that you're no longer in it for the next season or whatever it is a bad move, a bad PR move all around. He should have known people were going to pay attention to this, and he should have known that it was going to be a bad look. It also just shows a lack of faith in his team. I don't know. Everything about this is just wrong. And it's like it's obviously wrong. He really should have known better.
Yeah, I saw Kevin Lang in the chat. He says, y'all take Instagram too seriously. That's just the world we live in right now. Devin and I had a coworker that blocked us on Instagram. We felt some type of way about that because especially in our line of work, we tag each other and stuff, send each other to stuff. If Devin's working on something that I know can work for her, I send her stuff. If I can't do that, then that makes me feel like you don't really want to be on my team, period. Mm-hmm. So I know what you're saying, Kevin Lane, but that's a different, those times when social media didn't matter, those times are gone. Right now, you can send a message without sending a message via social media. And I think Schroeder is sending a message right now, and his little post game is a lie. What he did on Instagram is the truth. And I'm okay with that. Goodbye, Dennis. We'll see you later. All right, so now let's move on to this next one, because this next one is funny because somebody is lying. I don't know if it's Draymond. I don't know if it's Klay. I feel like it's Klay, but they were asking Draymond, to tell us some crazy stories. So let me show you this post. Where they talk about it. He says, what's your favorite Klay memory or moment? And Draymond says in a hotel in Miami, he ran into a wall and busted his eye and had stitches. He tried to lie to us and get his friend to lie and say he got into a fight at the club. When you're leaving the club in Miami, you're not always sober. And he tried to tell us he got into a fight. So Klay was like, that is not what happened. So let me show you what he said. He was like, no, this is a complete lie. Why would I say this? He says, what is this? First off, I don't lie. That's a lie right there. But he says, secondly, I'd never lie about getting into a fight. That's ridiculous. I don't know what Dre talking about for real. Who's telling the truth, Devin? Is it Draymond or is it Klay?
It's Draymond. For sure it's Draymond. Klay just doesn't want the real story getting out. He probably was like, dude, I told you not to tell. And so now he's still covering it up.
Right. And it's hard. I get it because Klay's not the kind of guy that I can see getting in a fight. It was probably one of those accidental fights. Okay, look, in a minute, this shit. You see, y'all got me. Y'all tripping out here. Like, do we not? Okay, so let me go on to this next one so we can. Maybe we'll just end the show early today since y'all tripping because y'all getting on my last. So let's go into this next one because this is what I keep telling you guys about Russell Westbrook. He is not the guy. I've seen reporters do this to him time and time again. They try to bait him into saying, well, if so-and-so had played different or if, so-and-so didn't get enough rebounds or so-and-so was having an off night. He never does that, ever. All he ever does is lift up his teammates, and he did that again in his postgame. Take a listen.
Nobody quit. And to me, that shows so much when you have a group of guys that when everybody said that we weren't able to do something and got challenged, and I challenged everybody in the locker room, nobody quit, nobody gave up, nobody gave in. We got a lot of guys on this team, man, that I'm just proud of overall that teams didn't want. They were third guys, G-League guys, first-year guys that nobody else wanted. And we put together a team that people wasn't afraid to play us, honestly. And, that's something we should be proud of. And I'm super proud of everybody in the locker room and just thankful to be able to have a group of guys that embrace me so well, from day one.
Man, when I tell you I love Russell Westbrook because that is such a beautiful thing, taking time to just uplift his teammates. It's always hard when all eyes are on you for a negative reason and you could feed into that negativity, but he never does. And I just applaud him for that because I think that's a beautiful thing. So Utah is waiting to see who they have to play tonight between I think it's going to be the Dallas and Utah, but whatever. I think that the Dallas is going to close out this series tonight. I know there's a bunch of Clippers fans in here, but that's what I think. But still, for the Grizzlies to not be able to kind of go through this series and win as much as we love John Morant comes from very, very good stock, you guys. I can tell that he is going to be his career is going to continue to rise. And I think because he has a great foundation, and John Morant's dad did not have to stop Spida and have this conversation with him, but he did. And I think this is dope. Take a listen.
Hey, yo, I'm going for y'all right now. Why? Y'all didn't have to do that. Y'all didn't have to show love to us like that. Yo, no, but this is what I'm saying. When shit go bad, and then you reach out, that's how you bridge the gap. Most people don't realize that. So that's why I appreciate you, and that's why I hope the Jazz win the championship. Hey, keep killing that. My God.
I almost got weepy. That's just a beautiful thing to see, with somebody taking a moment in time to just really kind of appreciate and bridge that gap. I don't know. I just got a little weepy on that one because I was like, oh, come on, Dad. I feel you. I love you, Dad. That was a great moment. But let me move on to this next one because I use Calm every single night. If you guys don't know what Calm is, it's a meditation app. So I use it every night to go to sleep. So they have sleep stories on there. They have Idris Elba on there, and he's telling stories about Africa because some of his proceeds go to curing AIDS in Africa. And then LeBron, I listen to him like every other morning, including this morning, because he has like a motivational app or motivational series to kind of help you get going through your day. But it's a really dope app. So if you have any kind of stress, I stay mad, I know you have anger management issues, maybe consider Calm because they do have little things that you can listen to kind of calm you, because it's all about keeping you mentally present and trying to help you figure out ways to manage stress, sleep better, get motivation. It's really one of those mental health apps. So they was not here for all the shade that our girl Naomi Osaka was getting. And I appreciate this because they posted this to their Instagram and I love it. It says mental health is health. Now, keep in mind, May was Mental Health Awareness Month. So the fact that Naomi Osaka was getting dragged for saying she was having, to take a break from the media because of mental health is weird. But the caption says, to support Naomi Osaka's decision to prioritize her mental health, Calm is donating $15,000 to At Laura Sport in France, an organization doing incredible work in mental health space to transform the lives of children and young people through the power of sport. But this is bigger than any individual player. Calm will also, this is the best part, you guys, Calm will also pay the fine for players opting out of the 2021 Grand Slam media appearances for mental health reasons, and we will match the fine with a $15,000 donation to At Laura Sport. When I tell y'all I love this, and then they post, so they have this one, and then they posted a picture, to kind of follow up with this as to what they were saying, and basically saying mental health and physical health, there's really no difference. So they says mental health is just as important as physical health. Hashtag mental health is health. I love this. This is the biggest clap back to the Grand Slam that you could ever want. And it's basically showing them, hey, you guys took the wrong road on this one. Will Smith tweeted out about it, posted a caption to his Instagram saying, you're right, they're wrong. I absolutely love this. I have nothing but good things to say about Calm stepping out in a very public way to support somebody in their mental health. I didn't see it coming. This is dope. Devin, what do you think about this?
I think this is great. And I think that having a company like Calm come out and kind of publicly denounce the way the French Open handled things and show support for Naomi Osaka, I think that I'm hoping that the people who are behind the French Open and, the people who make these kinds of media decisions for the athletes, that they kind of are sitting back and feeling really stupid about it because, now it's getting so much attention. Calm is getting so much celebrity and athlete support. So hopefully when companies like this come out in support of mental health and make a big statement like that, I think it starts to change the narrative of the way we view athletes, the way we view mental health in general. So I think nothing but good can come from this. And I am just hoping that the people who sit at the table for the French Open are thinking like, wow, we really messed this one up.
I mean, I'm sure they won't admit it publicly, but they should, because this was definitely the wrong road to take on this one. So shouts out to Calm. Telling you it's a great app. If you have sleep problems like me, they've got all kinds of ways to help you. So check that out. But let's move on to this next one because this is crazy to think about it. When you think about a guy that's already won a bunch of Super Bowls and just won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, for him to say this is like, okay, Tom, what do you mean here? Well, how much better can you get? So he made this comment that says, I've just been sitting here thinking about how we could really be a lot better next year. We still haven't reached our peak. And that's his thought process of going into next season. What the hell is your peak, sir? Now, look, here's the thing. The Tom Brady haters are still out there. I thought maybe they have gone by the wayside because Tampa Bay Tom is cool Tom. And I thought everybody loved him, but that's not the case. But people were like, no, that's not even the case because you didn't even play any really good team. So this person says, so we're going to ignore that he played mostly under 500 teams and he struggled against teams over 500. Struggling and losing, two totally different things. And I was really glad that this Twitter user kind of chimed in and said that as well. Like, okay, are we going to talk about the fact that he won when it mattered? And winning the 4 most important games any team plays all season in the playoffs were against under 500 teams? No, they weren't. Those are actually good teams. So Tom Brady, I love you. You're still getting hate though, which I kind of love that too, because if you weren't getting any hate at all, that would just be a little weird to me. But if you guys watch Challenge Accepted on Wednesday, here's a hot take for you. Because Michael, who was on the show with me, Michael Montgomery, he's a former Green Bay defensive end, and he had a hot take. He said that he is calling a Tampa Bay Kansas City Chief rematch in the upcoming Super Bowl. Devin, what do you think about that?
You asked for what was it again? Sorry, I was distracted by the chat again.
It's the hot take. He's saying that it's going to be another Tampa Bay Bucks and KC in this upcoming Super Bowl.
I wouldn't be that surprised by that. I can actually for sure see that happening. What do you think about that?
I wouldn't be surprised. Like I agree with you. I could see it happening as well. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But yeah, it's hard to go back to back like that, especially the same teams. Okay, let me just take a moment. Y'all gonna make me take a moment? Let me just take a moment. I don't know who you are that keeps creating these names that are very racist to come back in this chat. I don't know who you are, but you need to get a life. You're probably 9,000 pounds sitting in your mom's basement and you have horrible acne because you don't bathe properly. Please get out of our chat and stay out of our chat, sir. You're getting on my nerves. This is ridiculous. He literally keeps coming here and it's unacceptable. You guys, it's unacceptable. So let's move on. About to turn this damn chat off. Y'all don't know me like that. All right, so let's go on to this next one because this one is the Logan Paul and Floyd Money Mayweather stare-off. This stare-off happened, it was about 1 minute and 45 seconds. Clearly, I'm going to reduce it. But this is the dumbest stare-off that I've ever seen. But it equals what's happening with this fight. So take a look.
Hey guys, we gotta keep moving to the side. Go ahead guys, up the left side guys. Up the left side. Hey, excuse me. Watch out guys. Everyone's behind you guys. Alright.
That's such a waste of time. It was such a waste of time. I don't understand. Logan looks like he's just having fun. He's like, hey, pictures. And Floyd is just like, I have to do this for press. I don't know if it was Kevin Lang or Kevin Pryor said that everything that Floyd is doing right now, including the whack workout videos he's doing, is to get the pay-per-view views up. And I guess he's right because I didn't realize, I knew he was getting a percentage of the pay-per-view money, but I didn't know he was getting 50%. So he's getting paid $10 million for this fight, plus getting 50% share in the pay-per-view views. I don't know how much that's going to equal. So, and that's whether he wins or loses. I'm sure there's a bonus if he wins it, but this is ridiculous. I'm not going to dwell here because I don't like this whole fight. Somebody please stream it for free so I can watch it. But I will not be paying for this. You will not be getting 50% of my money, Floyd. I'm so sorry. But look, we've talked about this so many times now, about how ginormous these kids are getting. This is no different because I need you to take a look. He's 14. This kid right here, 14. He looks like he's in college, but he's not. He's 14. He's big. He's got an offer from Alabama. So let me show you this. I'm just going to go through these pretty quick, Leo, so you could just back to back. So this one says, after a great evening and conversation with Nick Saban, I'd like to announce that I have received a full ride scholarship to the University of Alabama, #Roll Tide. Okay, sir, but you've been getting scholarships to everything. Now, maybe not scholarships, but he's been getting accepted to damn near everything. He says, after a great early morning conversation with, of course, via Tua, I am extremely blessed and honored to have received my first D1 offer from the University of Nevada. Oh my God. Okay, so you got this offer. He's got another one. They just keep coming in. First and foremost, I want to thank God for this gracious opportunity. After a great talk with Coach Lewis Powell, I'm extremely excited and honored to announce that I've received my first Pac-12 offer from the University of Utah. There's, I think, one more after this. Okay, yeah, right here in LA. He says, words can't express how excited and most thankful I am right now. I would like to announce that I've received my third D1 offer from the University of South California. I thought somebody was trying to get my apartment. Anyway, so let you take a look at this kid really quickly, because I think I have this asset of him walking into a locker room. This kid is 14. Look how big he is. And he's already getting scholarship after scholarship. I mean, I'm proud of you. Go ahead, sir. I'm proud of you, but that's a lot. That's a lot. I don't have nothing else to say except for what are y'all feeding these kids? Because this dude, I saw somebody in the chat ask, so I'm going to tell you, he is 6'5", 330 pounds, and 14. Y'all do without what you want to do, because Devin.
Too much.
Too much. All right, let's go into this next one, because I'm going to finish this out with what we not going to do. I low-key want to change the topic and talk about what we not going to do in the chat, but I'm not. I'm going to move on to this one, because this is the person who keeps coming back with these racist things in the chat. This is the type of person who does this. And I don't have a lot to say on this one, except for I really wish in my heart of hearts that Black people would just stop playing for the NFL. I really wish that you guys would come together and get a list of demands of things that you want and stop playing for the NFL until they meet those demands. Because in my opinion, the NFL is a prime example of the racism that exists and is very prevalent in this country and sadly in our chat. It's just one of those things that is never going to go away. But the NFL, in my opinion, is way too reactive and not proactive, because I think it was maybe a week or two ago, might have been 2 weeks ago, that I told you about the NFL using race norming in an effort to not pay Black players in the $1 billion CTE settlement. So that race norming thing that they were doing was because they assumed that Black people had lower cognitive ability out the womb. So that we had to test even lower to get this money. So the majority of the players that are in this settlement are Black, but the only players thus far who are really getting good chunks of money are white, which is asinine. But it's saying because, Black people are already slower. That's what the NFL is assuming. Now, it wasn't because NFL realized they were doing the wrong thing. It was because all this petition and the attention that the NFL was getting from this. And so now the AP posted this that says that the NFL is going to stop doing that. So the tweet says, the NFL says it will halt the use of race norming, which assumed Black players started out with a lower cognitive function. In a $1 billion settlement of brain injury claims, the practice have made it harder for Black players to qualify. I don't believe that they're really going to change much. They say they are going to go back and retroactively address all of these situations. I'll believe it when I see it. And Ken Jenkins, who's a former running back for Washington, he said the same thing. He says, words are cheap. Let's see what they do. And I mean, at this point, I don't have a lot to say about it, because what we're not going to do is believe the NFL in anything they say. We need to see what they do, because they're a horrible organization. And that's all I got to say about that.
Yay, you guys, Fan or Foe is here. We have collected your comments, questions, and clapbacks from throughout the week. So let's get started. Leo, let's put that first one up there. Okay, Mike Locke says, Schröder could leave. I could care less about that foo. I think that we agree. No argument there. Let's get to the next one. Nick Hamilton says, Bradley Beal to Golden State Warriors. That makes sense for him. What do you think about that, Jackie?
Nick Hamilton is my friend, but that's a no for me. Not to Golden State.
Okay, let's get into the next one, Leo. Jose Manquilla says Lillard and Beal to the Warriors again. Steph, Damian, Klay, Beal super team that could easily beat any team, including Brooklyn. Okay, well, with those four guys on the same team, yes, that would be the super team of all super teams. They could for sure beat Brooklyn. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think we've already discussed Dame staying in Portland, and Bradley Beal, Jackie doesn't support him going to Golden State. So I don't know what's left to say about that. Let's move on. Jeremiah, stay mad. He says, Jackie, you literally said Curry's legacy was on the line, so now LeBron isn't because his back is to the wall. Stop the double standards.
Well, start listening properly. That's first and foremost. I never said Steph Curry's legacy was on the line. What I said was, Steph Curry has already solidified his legacy because he's literally changed the game. He's literally changed the way that people play basketball and the way teams think about their teams as far as small ball. That's what I said. I said what he needed to prove was he was the guy who could carry the team to the playoffs by himself. That's what I said. So if you're going to quote me right. But I appreciate you.
Let's get into the next one. Naz Clouded says, some of y'all act like LeBron and MJ is the same person. Then when he doesn't perform on his level, he's trash. I think people do kind of try and treat them as one and the same, but they're different players playing in different times. And I think that we need to definitely acknowledge that. Let's move on to the next one. Kevin Pryor, LeBron checked all the boxes. No off the court issues. Great father, husband, leader on social issues. Mission accomplished. Hell yes. Hell yes. Yep. Okay, moving on. Alan Cruz says, Trey is an NYC villain. Where is Spider-Man? I think this is amusing. Trey is not a villain. Trey is just going out there playing his game. Madison Square Garden Knicks diehards just hate him because they don't know how to act. They haven't been in the playoffs in forever, so they just don't know how to act. Trey's just doing his thing. Let's get in. Leave him alone. Let's move on to the next one here. Ninnong Gaming says, I don't want the Lakers and LeBron to lose in the first round, but it would be too damn funny if both LA teams exit. The Battle of LA will take place in the local gym. Oh my God, that's painful. That hurts my feelings.
It does hurt my feelings, but that is witty shade. So I'm going to nominate this person for Fan of the Week because that was witty shade and I like it.
Okay, so Ninnong is nominated. I'm writing that so we remember in the chat. Okay, That Boy React says you can't go 100% when your match is in 3 days. You can't risk getting injured. So this is about Floyd Mayweather and how we were wondering, like, why does he seem so kind of slow and different? Okay, but, like, what about the video that came out a few weeks ago where he looked super slow? Like, that wasn't 3 days away from his match, so something's going up here. Let's get to the next one. Ryan McLean says, listen to Devin, Jackie, don't worry your pretty little head. Floyd will bust Logan ass like a lobster tail. Just think about the first few rounds with Connor.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
It's so funny. Okay, moving on. Todd Wall says, Dame needs to get to a better team, no cap, because if he doesn't, he'll just have big numbers with no chips. That's exactly what we're saying. That's exactly what we're saying. Time for Dame to leave. Get out of there. It's Dame time to leave. Right. Okay, moving on. Next one. James Walter says, do you really think he cares? I would walk out to get my mind right. It is tough to get put out in the first round. You have to prepare for the next round. So this one was about LeBron, of course.
Yep, I agree.
So
I agree.
Leave. Yeah, Jackie agrees. Okay, next one coming up. Bobby Digital, Devin, can you ball? Hell yeah, I can ball. All 5'2" of me, yes. I dunk like no other.
She got hops. No, she got hops.
I can do it. Okay, moving on. Jeremiah Smith, I would love to see her and Jackie fight. So this was about Jackie and the girl who pushed the bear. Yeah.
No, no. I'll be like, can I get you some coffee, miss? I'm not fighting nobody fights a bear. You crazy? Hell no.
Okay, next one. Andrew Sherman says the fans can't come into the stands for a year now. They don't know how to act. No lies there. Fans don't know how to act. Next one, Leo. Jeremiah Smith, Jackie Ray, that fan that threw the water bottle is Mark Law to Jackie and Devin. Yeah, Mark Law sucks. He sucks. We should look up his LinkedIn and tell his work that he sucks. Okay, another one. Kevin says, French Open missed an opportunity on this one. They could have protected her better. I agree 1,000%. For sure. Yep. They really should have. They look like fools now, like I was saying earlier in the show. Moving on. Tyria Rhea says these players ain't running in no stands nowadays.
I mean, I don't know if I agree with that. I think you get Russ on the right day, in the stand he goes. I don't know if I agree with that.
Let's get to the next one. Mike Locke says Jackie's really a menace.
I'm going to take that as a compliment, sir, because I choose to.
And then another one. Trey owns stock in Rogaine. Oh, that hurts. That one hurts my feelings too. Poor Trey. I feel bad for him. Maybe he should, though. Maybe he should embrace it. Okay, so this guy was mad about player empowerment. He said this is so hypocritical because the GMs have so much power and can do basically anything, but when the players take action, it's not okay. So he was mad about the GM who was mad about player empowerment. And yeah, this is a double standard for sure. I agree with that 100%. Okay, you guys. Well, we are at the end. You have anything to say?
No, we got the winner. Ning Nong is the winner.
Ninnong. Congratulations, Ninnong. Fan of the week. All right, you guys, have an amazing weekend. We're going to be back on Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment below, share this video with your friends, and be nice. Be a nice person. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.